Welcome to the 2016 Arena Cup here in Innsbruck. We're just getting ready to start the top 8 of our Masters VGC division, and we have a featured match coming up for you. It's Thomas against Felix. Andre, tell us a little bit about these two players.
So Thomas has played in very many tournaments. Never was quite successful, but he's one of the players from the first hour, as you say. And he always has very interesting team ideas. And Felix is kind of more of a new player. I don't know too much about him, but he's certainly very enthusiastic, and I think he has a great chance to make something here today in the tournament.
Before we start into the team preview, as the players are already getting started, can you tell us a little bit more about the format and what does it take to get into the top 4, sorry.
Oh, I will gladly do it, but we are going right into the battle now.
Ah, here we go.
So unfortunately didn't have a glimpse of the team preview, but Thomas is going with Groudon, Xerneas, Kangaskhan, Salamence, Jumpluff and Talonflame. And Felix is going with Xerneas, Kyogre, Salamence, Bronzong, Kangaskhan and Amogus.
And indeed, both choose to start with their Kangaskhan as well as Talonflame on Thomas' side, and Felix decides to bring out his Bronzong in the first round.
Yeah, so the Bronzong could be potentially huge. It depends if he wants to, if it is a Trick Room set or what he's trying to accomplish here. Of course, it can get fake out by the Kangaskhan, but I think it's really interesting to see which Kangaskhan will make the first move here.
For you to keep track of the teams and which Pokemon the players are actually bringing to the table, you can see the teams on the left and on the right hand side, as most likely both Kangaskhan decide to Mega Evolve and bring their baby out of the pouch.
So since the Mega Kangaskhan or Felix evolve first, it will also get the first move here. So
and it is indeed fake out on that Kangaskhan. Oh, indeed, Thomas Kangaskhan was the first to evolve.
So
and Talonflame decided to use that taunt, and Bronzong can't use its Trick Room, and the crowd here appreciates that great play.
That turn was huge. So the Kangaskhan's have same speed here. We can make sure of that. But the Bronzong in the taunt state is really not gonna do very much. It has a Gyro Ball, but it's not very effective against the Talonflame, and not gonna do too much damage against the Kangaskhan, at least not enough to have some impact here. So we will see if he will switch it up or if he is confident enough to stay.
Bold first move by Thomas, now following up with a Brave Bird, probably aiming for that Kangaskhan. Oh no, he goes for the Bronzong, maybe anticipating a switch there.
Definitely.
Doesn't get it though.
Very nice prediction.
Oh, and Thomas low kick, dealing enough damage to KO Felix Kangaskhan. And now Bronzong only left with that Gyro Ball. Going for the Kangaskhan slot, well, dealing some nice damage.
It's alright, but Kangaskhan is still pretty healthy here. And Bronzong still can use its Trick Room or other non-attacking moves.
Felix probably decided that he doesn't have any safe switch-ins for a Brave Bird. That was coming that way. And now it's going to be interesting to see what he brings out.
Although it's big that this Kangaskhan probably won 2 speed ties. But
is that what it does, or what does it take to get to the top 4 at this
certainly not
stage of the game?
Of course, you need some luck here. But Felix is still in the game, I would say. The Proto Kyogre here.
Some heavy rain starting to pour down as Kyogre evolves into Primal Kyogre.
But his Kyogre is probably a little bit slower because he is playing it with the Trick Room. So I don't think that the Kyogre can survive a double hit from Kangaskhan and Talonflame. And again, Bronzong can't do too much here. So it's interesting to see how both players will react. They're taking their time. This is a very important turn here.
So much on the line for these players. It's about the championship points to qualify to get to San Francisco. It's also about the pride of making it to the top 4 here in Innsbruck.
Yeah, we're coming to the end with the season. So every championship point you can get is very important before the nationals.
Now Felix has the guts to switch out his Bronzong and protect with Kyogre. Now Xerneas probably catching this brave, but no, he went for the Kyogre double.
Very nice prediction by Felix.
And a safe switch in for Xerneas. Well done.
So now Thomas is in a tough situation. If he does ignore the Xerneas, it will get probably his Geomancy off, which will make it really difficult to handle it. And the Kyogre still at full HP. A Water Spout could do massive damage, probably KOing both. So now it's a really tough situation what to pick here. So both players still taking their time. But okay, he's decided to switch back his Talonflame, going for the Groudon. I like the play, and probably it's the Proto Groudon changing its form,
bringing back some sun to the bad weather, just like here in Innsbruck.
Yeah, very sunny here.
Desolate land, not as hard as on this battlefield, but
Felix
Kyogre
also anticipated the switch to Groudon, putting himself in a alright position so he can have the rain back next turn. Bronzong tanking that attack pretty well. Oh, and does the Xerneas? Oh, he goes for the Moonblast. He did not use the Geomancy. But it's enough to feint the Kangaskhan at least. So which Pokemon will Thomas choose to pick now? His options are... Okay, Xerneas. Well, the Bronzong is pretty damaged already. And of course, there's the Groudon next to the Xerneas. So it won't tank too much. So I think Thomas has a pretty good situation right now. But of course, the Kyogre switch-in could change things pretty bad. But Felix always has to anticipate the Geomancy from the Xerneas. So it's a tough choice to make here, really. So both players taking really much time to consider, and
yes, the first Geomancy on Felix's side, maybe indicating that this Xerneas is indeed faster.
well, at least it's a speed tie, but I don't know. We will see what Thomas Geomancy will do now.
Groudon going for the Fire Punch on Bronzong. Knockout, so no Kyogre coming in on Felix's side. And another Geomancy. Advantage Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas has the Pokemon advantage right now, that's true, but of course the sun will fade now with Kyogre coming in. Both Xerneas being at Geomancy, but of course Groudon can tank the fairy attacks from Xerneas a bit better than Kyogre can, since it has a resistance.
Do you think Thomas is going to switch out that Groudon now?
He has to. If he wants to have a chance at winning this, he needs the sun back, and that's the problem Felix has here. He can't switch his Kyogre back anymore, and once the Groudon comes back, he will have the sun, and the Kyogre won't be able to do any damage at all, because Xerneas has doubled his special defense, and Ice Beam won't do too much against the Groudon. So I think he will now switch Groudon out, sacrifice his Talonflame, and protect the Xerneas here.
Let's see if Felix sees right through that, or if he can do anything about it.
So, okay, both decide
no
to stay
switch
in
out.
actually.
Xerneas now with a Moonblast, well over half. And then we see this another Moonblast now on Kyogre. Wow, doing massive damage.
Groudon is... Oh no! That is unfortunate. That is really unfortunate.
Just amazing. Kyogre dodging that attack. Now firing back.
But he does not go to the Groudon.
Not
and Xerneas tanking the Scald attack here.
As you can see, the crowd likes this turn of events.
This was... wow. Okay, so Thomas now in a very good position. His Groudon being faster than Kyogre is certainly helpful. Xerneas won't be able to knock it out with one attack. And of course he can't ignore the other Xerneas.
Dazzling Gleam now, knocking out Xerneas. And also dealing some nice damage on that Groudon. But we now it's Groudon's turn.
And this time hitting both. So that should be enough to close. And oh, Xerneas still surviving here.
But now Talonflame will come out. And will most likely seal the deal here with a priority attack, won't it?
Yeah. Talonflame has the ability Gale Wings, which gives a priority to all flying type attacks. And of course, this we already saw the Brave Bird from... and Felix knows he has no chance here. Gives up. First game goes to Thomas. That's game.
So that was round number 1. Thomas taking it down. Felix now a little bit under pressure. Do you take any chances of maybe...
better and to anticipate the Groudon a little bit better? I think he still has a good chance to make the next game.
And if you're Thomas, do you change things around, or do you say, no, never change the winning team now?
I wouldn't change the team he had right now. He had a really good matchup overall. Especially countering that Bronzong at the beginning. So probably he won't. Felix won't lead with Bronzong again, because it's really not good against Talonflame's taunt. But Felix now has the information that the Bronzong has, that the Talonflame has taunt. So this is worth a little bit. And if he can get off the Trick Room he probably has, then he's good to go.
Players are already getting started with the team preview, as the crowd is trying to influence the game a little bit by cheering for their favorites. So let's jump right back into the VGC action. Round number 2 out of best of 3. We can see Thomas at the bottom right corner now bringing his Jumpluff. I like that.
Oh, Jumpluff, a really rare Pokemon today. It has really good benefits though. It has the move. It has the move like Encore, and also the ability Prankster, which means he can go with priority. He could also have potentially Worry Seed, which would cancel out. Thomas has won the last round, and of course with Worry Seed he could cancel out the Primal Weather abilities of Kyogre and Groudon, which could give him an edge in the Weather Wars. But we have none of that here, so Jumpluff will have to show what else it can, and of course...
Oh! There is that Prankster ability, and it's showing Salamence on how to be put to sleep in turn number 1. A safe switch in for that Primal Groudon. So Thomas now looking poised to take advantage of round number 1.
Yeah, that huge turn by Thomas. But I have to correct myself, it's not Prankster, it's Chlorophyll. So he's actually abusing the Sun Groudon is producing and doubling its speed, which is usually just as good as having the Prankster.
And there's that Encore. Oh, and now Xerneas will protect on and on, has a 50-50 chance of continuing his protect. And it fails, and now it's Groudon. Amazing.
Huge play here by Thomas.
Amazing.
Putting himself in a really good position. And we can see, no matter how little a Pokemon, the effects can be really great.
Oh, that Jumpluff's putting in some work.
Jumpluff really dominating right now. And Groudon with the double attack, and Groudon already has one of the hugest attack stats in the game. I'm not sure if anything can survive its attacks at all.
It's really tough to find any words here because the crowd is so buzzing about this Jumpluff. They haven't seen that one coming.
Yeah.
Felix maybe also puzzled taking his time here.
He will have to switch that Xerneas. He can't just stay in and protect all day while the Salamence is sleeping. But he decides to stay in. Interesting. Hoping probably that the Salamence wakes up.
Another sleep powder, so Thomas was anticipating a switch there.
So Salamence waking up here.
Now with the hyper voice. Oh, Jumpluff just barely hanging on. And Thomas, oh, Salamence dodging.
Well, not attacking the Salamence here was a little bit risky, of course. He could sleep longer than one turn, but you always, in my opinion, you always have to calculate a little bit that it can wake up after all. And he had anticipated a switch and to hit the switch in very hard. And now we see the Kyogre here, and we know it's a Proto Kyogre. So, but Precipice Plates will still hit for full damage, no matter if the weather changes. And we can't forget the Jumpluff still will have the boost of the sun, but missing the sleep powder here. That's the problem you have when you attack with moves without full accuracy. You always have to take risks, and they don't always pay off. And we see the double miss here. That's huge.
Oh, and
Felix
this
really
is how
lucky.
fast the game can turn around. Wow.
Now Thomas in a really tough spot, not having his weather up, being slower than the Salamence. Of course he can fake out it, but still the Kyogre can only go behind a protect and not take any damage from Precipice Blades at all.
Remember, Groudon brought his Swords Dance to the table, so any hit would have done some serious damage, but no, Groudon failed to hit any Pokemon for 2 consecutive turns, and now it's all but knocked out.
Yeah, the Sleep Powder and Precipice Blades missing. He essentially did nothing this turn with that. And
trying to fight back now with that Mega Evolved Kangaskhan, the fake out you already announced, hitting that Salamence, so Salamence unable to move this turn. But what will Kyogre do? Here we go, next chance. This time it hits.
That's huge. Definitely a little bit of a misplay here to not protect the Kyogre, but Kyogre tanking the double attack Precipice Blades, going for a Water Spout, which will not do too much against the Kangaskhan.
But Groudon now finally knocked out. Kyogre barely hanging on. And Thomas will now reveal that Xerneas is indeed his last Pokemon.
Well, this puts him in a really alright spot, actually. The Kyogre is vulnerable now to Sucker Punch from Kangaskhan. And of course, the Salamence will not be able to hold a Fairy-type attack from Xerneas. So we will have to see if they will have to do some smart switching here or smart protecting. But of course, Thomas being with his last 2 Pokemon.
And the rain is here to stay. Hyper Voice, so no switching. Significant damage, no Sucker Punch, but instead Double Edge on Kyogre, maybe also fearing that switch. And now Xerneas maybe with a Moon Blast, or what does it go for?
So what?
Oh, Geomancy. Maybe he feels he's so far behind now, he has to gamble a little bit, he has to power up that Xerneas.
That is good. This Xerneas is his last chance, but if the opponent has Bronzong in his back, then this will be really difficult for the Xerneas. Because the Bronzong can tank both Xerneas and Kangaskhan pretty well.
Remember, these are Thomas' last Pokemon, while Felix has 3 in the bag, 1 Salamence and 2 in the bag. One's coming out right now. What's it going to be?
So
he's taking his time here, which makes me feel maybe it's not Bronzong.
maybe he didn't pick it after it was so good countered.
But
it is the Bronzong, so this will be a little bit difficult for Thomas now. But Bronzong definitely not gonna have the time to set up Trick Room here. The Gyro Ball will do the trick though against the Xerneas.
No,
the Salamence is still faster than both Kangaskhan and Xerneas. And those Hyper Voices really doing good damage, especially if they hit multiple times. So he goes for the Dazzling Gleam, will probably knock out the Salamence. But doing almost no damage against the Bronzong. So low kick shouldn't be enough, and it is not. And probably Gyro Ball now doing the trick here. Especially with that speed boost, the difference is too great. Xerneas can't stand that anymore. And Kangaskhan now alone facing 2 Pokemon.
It is Xerneas, so Kangaskhan looking to fight an uphill battle here, which, in my opinion, it cannot win.
Yeah, Thomas will have to focus on Game 3, and of course the misses made a huge part in this. So Kangaskhan attacking first here, actually going for Xerneas, but will it survive? It will survive barely. Usually if you train them, you have certain splits you want to survive attacks like Kangaskhan's Double Edge. And good game by Felix here.
Kommt gleich wieder drauf. 2-0. Das war's schon.
1-1.
So that was game number 2. Both players have won their first match. Now it's the decisive 3rd match of this best of 3 game. Now let's see. I think Thomas, in my opinion, had a brilliant idea with that jump lift, but with 2 turns of missing attacks, I think that was
luck was not on his side. But those are the risks you take in this game if you don't go for moves that are 100% accurate. And sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't.
But don't you have to take the gamble in a meta game in which many players are bringing the same Pokemon with similar attacks, similar stats? Don't you have to take that gamble of bringing a Pokemon that is maybe unknown and forcing your opponent to make a maybe mistake because he doesn't know what kind of strength jump is bringing to the table?
Sure, that helps a lot. But then again, if you usually it's also not that much of a problem if one attack misses, but with the blades missing and the sleep powder missing, of course, all backfired. And Jumpluff, of course, has the problem. It's really fragile. So if it can get out and sleep powder, it is usually not gonna stay very long, and if it has to take an attack.
I'm curious to see if Thomas is going to bring that Jumpluff again, as players have now decided which Pokemon they are going to choose. Well, they will at least in the next 20 seconds or so.
Of course, for Felix, the Jumpluff won't be too much of a surprise anymore. But then again, he now has to consider, of course, the Talonflame if he decides to bring out Bronzong early, but also the Jumpluff, usually countering Bronzong really well. And you'll see how Felix will try to adjust to that opener Thomas had the last time.
Here we go. 4 Pokemon being thrown into the battle zone. Talonflame and Xerneas this time, so not the Groudon Jumpluff opening from last time. And another Xerneas and a Salamence to go with it.
So Thomas deciding here to be a bit more offensive. But the Talonflame really not doing too much here since he had to take the Intimidate. So this opener definitely a little bit better for Salamence, right? For Felix right now, thanks to the Salamence. So it's interesting to see if they, what the Xerneas will do here. If they will go straight up for the Geomancy, or if they will try to do some damage with their Moonblasts. And the Talonflame probably gonna have to switch here. Can do some alright damage against Xerneas. Could potentially be enough to KO it if he goes double on Xerneas. So Salamence switching out here.
Doesn't want to take any Moonblast, so instead bringing on the Bronzong that could resist such an attack. And Talonflame actually going into the offensive. Which start is it going to be? Oh, it is Xerneas. So now let's see what the other Xerneas are going to do. Geomancy coming from Felix's Xerneas. And Thomas maybe doing the same?
Well, I don't think a Moonblast will be enough for here. The Brave Bird didn't do enough damage to pick up a boosted Xerneas.
Especially now that it's boosted in his special defense. So good on Thomas that he decided to go with Geomancy as well. So both Xerneas now threatening the opponent.
Yeah, of course, the Bronzong really good opposition to the Xerneas. One-hit KOing with the Gyro Ball. But of course, the Talonflame can at least lock down the non-attacking moves of the Bronzong. And the Xerneas doesn't have to attack right off the bat at all. But Felix in a slightly better position, in my opinion, right now. So what will Thomas do against this force? So, what I find interesting, by the way, is that even though many teams are a little bit similar, as you see, everyone had his little special guy here with Bronzong for Felix and for Jumpluff, as you said, for Thomas. And he goes for the Tailwind, actually.
So Moonblast coming out from Xerneas, anticipating that potential protect coming from Xerneas. Oh, knocking out that Talonflame.
So now it's interesting to see what the Bronzong will go for. And he goes for the Gyro Ball. Trick Room would be very huge. But
especially with the Tailwind coming up.
Yeah. But of course it's a little bit too risky to not attack Geomanced Xerneas.
Now Thomas knows that his Xerneas and his Kangaskhan and soon Mega Kangaskhan are going to be faster than Bronzong and Felix Xerneas. So that might be an advantage coming into the next round.
Well, Felix Xerneas still has the +2 speed boost, so it could be faster than the Kangaskhan still. But Tailwind was a huge play, making his own Xerneas faster and threatening a one-hit KO to the other Xerneas. So he goes for the Mega here. Probably gonna pin down the Bronzong.
Fake out, there it is. And now Xerneas is free to attack.
He goes for the Dazzling Gleam. Let's see how that will work out. And it was not quite enough. I think a Moonblast was really important in this turn. Kangaskhan not gonna tank this.
Wow.
So I think the Dazzling Gleam was a little bit of a misplay here, because the KO on Xerneas was really important. But still, nothing's lost. You have your Primal Groudon now.
But now with Groudon coming out and no switching options anymore, Thomas is relying on the weather to stay up. We know that Felix has not shown his Kyogre just yet.
Sure, but what can Felix really do about this Xerneas now? He can only hope to stall out this Tailwind, because Xerneas is not gonna take another Dazzling Gleam, and Kyogre gonna have a really hard time tanking the boosted Moonblasts from Xerneas. So it'll be interesting to see how Felix will try to bring the win back home.
Let's see if Thomas is bringing his sword stance again or if he is going for the offensive. Maybe trying to hit both opposing Pokemon.
Maybe it's time to switch out your own Xerneas here right now. For Felix, of course.
Instead, he switches out Bronzong. Kyogre coming and getting rid of that sun, that pesky sun.
Yeah, but he's letting himself getting hit by another Dazzling Gleam. And Kyogre will survive a Dazzling Gleam, but it will take huge damage out of that attack. Even if the other Xerneas protects now. And actually
Dazzling
not
Gleam it
protecting.
is. So Xerneas is knocked out and Kyogre taking about half. And Groudon hasn't even attacked yet. Fire Punch though, oh yeah, that doesn't do any.
Yeah, but he had no choice. If the Bronzong decided to stay in and Gyro Ball, he would have knocked out the Xerneas. He had to go for the safe play here.
And there it is again, but Fire Punch is no good in the rain.
And we must not forget that Bronzong can have the ability Levitate. So Precipice Blade's not gonna make any damage. So Bronzong in a very good position here since it can't get hit by fire type attacks. So if Kyogre decides to protect here, it's gonna be a really difficult time for Thomas, I think. But of course, it's just all about prediction. If Kyogre protects, Xerneas has to protect. If Kyogre does not protect, then it's better to not protect. It's really how you can read your opponent in this situation right now.
Really crucial decisions now to make it to the
This is the
half
crucial...
finals. It is indeed protect for Kyogre. Let's see if it pays off for him or if Thomas sees right through it. It's Moonblast time. He's trying to get rid of the Bronzong. Let's see how much damage it does. And it's enough to take it out!
It's a critical hit!
Just in time delivery for Thomas. Amazing.
This was huge. This was really huge.
Unbelievable.
Now Felix really in a pickle here. He has no Pokemon that can really survive the fairy type attacks from the boosted Xerneas here. Wow, a really huge play by Thomas.
This is what it takes for Thomas to come back into this game. He took his chances and he got it.
So how will Felix try to make something of the situation?
That's what it takes. Preparation, also good predictions, and a little
dedication.
bit of luck. Oh yeah, I meant dedication, yeah.
So the Salaman probably will have to go for a protect, but it won't help. The Xerneas still has double speed. No matter what you do, it's always gonna be slower than the Xerneas.
There is the protect as you predicted, and just like last turn for Kyogre, Groudon decides that protect is his play. And now let's see what Xerneas does. It's Moonblast. Oh, hitting the right slot again. Probably knocking out that Kyogre. Oh, and it goes down.
Very nice prediction by Thomas. And Felix now, I really don't like to say it, but he has really no chance to come back here because the Salamence is never going to be faster than Xerneas.
The rain has stopped as well. It's tough for Felix to protect now. Moonblast coming through, and that's going to seal the deal.
That's good game.
Wow.
Very impressive gameplay by Thomas.
Well-deserved applause for Thomas here.
Crowd's not stopping.
And there it is. 1-0, 1-1, and then Thomas finally made it to 2-1, advancing into the half final. So the top four now for Thomas. Very entertaining match indeed, I have to say.
Yeah, I really liked it. And even if many Pokemon are same, if you see with a little bit of switch up, you can get really, really entertaining matches here. And everyone had a chance. And if the plays stay that high, I think we will have a really nice tournament here.
Yeah, you know what's the best part about watching a match like this? That actually there's another match coming up very soon, and that's going to be the top four match. Maybe we will be seeing Thomas again in the top four. First of all, congratulations for Felix to making it this far. It really takes a lot of, you said it, dedication to make it this far. But we're now looking forward to seeing the top four and of course also the finals play out in the VGC finals. So stay tuned and see you soon.
Stay tuned.